Okay, let's talk about it. We're about to tackle what is, for pretty much all of us, the single biggest financial decision we will ever face. Should you rent or should you buy a home? It's this huge question, right? And it's loaded with so much emotion and pressure. So in this explainer, we are going to cut through all of that noise to get you some real clarity. You've heard this a million times, haven't you? It's the one phrase that just haunts so many people. You hear it from your parents, you hear it from your friends, you see it online. And it creates this massive anxiety that every single time you write a rent check, you're just lighting money on fire. But is that actually true? And that is exactly why we're here. Our whole mission today is to cut through all of that noise, all the myths, and just give you a clear, unbiased framework. The goal is for you to walk away with the financial facts you need to make a smart decision that's right for your life, not for anybody else. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, before we even touch a calculator or look at a single number, we have to start with our mindset. This is so important. We're going to break down the stories and the myths that we've all been told about what renting and owning actually mean for our money. So let's tackle that big one head on, the whole idea that rent is wasted money. Here's the reality. It's not. You're buying a valuable service. I mean, think about it. You pay for groceries to eat, you pay your phone bill to communicate. Rent is exactly the same. It's a transaction for something crucial, a roof over your head, the flexibility to move if you need to, and nice, predictable monthly costs. Now, let's flip it and look at the other side of the coin. We're always told that a mortgage is like a forced savings account because you're building equity, right? That's the part of the house you actually own. But, and this is a big but, in the first several years of a typical mortgage, almost all of your payment is just interest. It's going straight to the bank. It's not building your wealth. It's literally just the cost of borrowing a huge pile of money. And that leads us to probably one of the biggest and most common mistakes people make. They compare their rent payment directly to a potential mortgage payment. To get the real story, the true picture, we have to uncover all the other costs of ownership. And this slide illustrates it perfectly. Owning a home is like an iceberg. The mortgage, that's just the tip you can see. But look at everything hiding under the surface. You've got property taxes, insurance, maintenance, HOA fees, renovations, the crazy costs of just buying and selling the place. It's a totally different financial animal compared to the beautiful simplicity of renting. So this brings us to a really crucial concept: total cost of ownership, or TCO. You should never compare your rent to just a mortgage payment. The only fair apples-to-apples comparison is your rent versus the total cost of ownership. That's the only way you're going to get a clear financial picture. Let's just zoom in on one of those hidden costs to see how big it can get: maintenance. A pretty good rule of thumb is to expect to spend anywhere from 1% to 4% of your home's value on repairs and upkeep every single year. So on a $500,000 house, that could be up to $20,000 a year that isn't building you a single dime of equity. It's just gone. And here's another huge hidden cost that almost everyone forgets about: opportunity cost. When you take a giant pile of cash for a down payment and closing costs and you sink it into a house, that money is no longer out there working for you. It's not on the stock market, it's not growing. We have to account for that potential growth you gave up. It's a very real cost that can totally change the math. Okay, so we've looked at the numbers, but you know what? This decision isn't just about math, not even close. We also have to understand our own brains and the really powerful psychological biases that are at play when we think about our homes. I mean, we feel this immense pressure to buy for reasons that have nothing to do with a spreadsheet, right? There's social pressure from our family and friends. There's this desire for status. For so many of us, our identity feels wrapped up in the idea of owning property. And then there's that really dangerous overconfidence that home prices can only go in one direction: up. These are all powerful emotions that can seriously cloud our judgment. You know, this quote really just nails a key idea. It's something called loss aversion. As humans, we are wired to feel the pain of a loss, like losing money to rent, way more strongly than we feel the pleasure of an equivalent gain, like getting great returns from an investment. And that bias can actually push us to buy a home, even if renting and investing the difference would be the much smarter financial move. So, we've torn down the myths, we've uncovered the true costs, and we've taken a look at the psychology. Now for the good part. Let's put it all together into a practical, step-by-step framework that you can actually use to make the right choice for you. First up, here's a quick gut check. Generally speaking, renting is probably the winner if your time horizon is shorter, let's say less than 10 years, or if the rent in your city is way cheaper than the total cost of ownership would be, and if you really value being able to move around. Buying starts to make a lot more sense if you're planting roots for the long haul, 10 plus years, you crave that stability, and you want to lock in your housing costs so they don't keep going up. But hold on. Before you even start comparing the options, you have to look inward first. The very first step is always a financial readiness check. Are you really in a strong enough position to take on the massive risk and all the headaches of owning a home? Now, these rules aren't just for the bank, they're really for you. They are powerful signs of your own financial health. The 28-36 rule helps make sure you're not house poor. It basically says your total housing costs shouldn't be more than 28% of your income, and all your debt combined shouldn't top 36%. And that 20% down payment test, it's not just about avoiding extra insurance. It proves you have the financial discipline to handle all those surprise costs that come with a house. So here it is, your 4-step framework. Step 1, the life season check. Where are you right now, and where do you honestly see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Step 2, run the numbers. Compare your rent to the full total cost of ownership for a similar place. Step 3, qualify yourself. Apply those readiness rules and see if you're truly prepared. And then step 4, and this might be the most important one, the behavior test. Be brutally honest. If you choose to rent, will you actually invest the money you save? Because ultimately, it all comes down to this. Your housing status, whether you're a renter or a buyer, that doesn't determine your financial success. Your financial behavior does. You can absolutely build incredible wealth as a disciplined renter who invests the difference, and you can just as easily go broke as an undisciplined homeowner. And that's the final thought we're going to leave you with. The goal isn't just to own a house because society tells you that's what you're supposed to do. The real goal is to build a wealthy, secure, and flexible life. So take this framework, apply it to your own situation honestly, and ask yourself, which choice is the right tool to get me there?